Demon Hunter, America.
They said I was born from a spark. That when I cried for the first time, every candle in the caravan lit itself. I don't remember that night, but sometimes I dream of it. The smell of smoke, the hush before a storm, and 1,000 tiny embers floating in the air like fireflies made of memory. They circle me, whispering in voices that sound like my mother's laughter. The world I came into was a world of color. My parents belonged to the Phoenix Caravan, a wandering circus that painted cities with fire and music. Our tents glowed like lanterns in the night. Our stage was the sky. I grew up between drums and torchlight, among people who believed that every flame had a story, and every story deserved to burn bright. Father could make fire dance. Mother could make it sing. Together, they turned heat into harmony. And me, I was their smallest spark, always sneaking too close to the torches, always laughing when the adults gasped. "Careful, Aria,"
Careful,
Father used to say, scooping me away from danger.
Too much.
Fire listens to you too much. But I didn't think that was a bad thing. To me, fire wasn't dangerous. It was alive. It flickered when I was happy, dimmed when I cried. Sometimes, when I was alone, I'd cup my hands together and watch a single ember hover between my palms, pulsing with my heartbeat. At night, when the show was over and the audience had gone,
Really is,
I would lie beside my mother near the dying bonfire.
It's memory.
She would hum softly, tracing shapes in the air with the smoke. "Do you know what fire really is, my little flame?" she asked once. I shook my head. "It's memory," she said. "Every spark remembers the warmth it came from. Every light wants to go home." She pressed her hand to my chest. "One day, you'll understand." The fire crackled in answer. I remember the way its glow brushed against our faces. Gold on hers, rose on mine. That was the night I first saw the phoenix rise. A bird of fire that spread its wings above the caravan, formed not by magic tricks or smoke, but by the wind itself. I thought it was a dream. Now I know it was a promise, because every light, once born, must one day learn how to burn. The Phoenix Caravan was a world made of light. Every morning the camp awoke to the sound of drums and laughter, the scent of roasted chestnuts, and the shimmer of silk tents rippling in the wind. Flags in crimson and gold snapped above the wagons, and the earth itself smelled faintly of ash. The perfume of a life lived in fire. I was 9 that summer, old enough to help, but still young enough to believe that the circus would last forever. Father, Flamion, was our fire master, the man who could turn a torch into a dragon. Mother, Selene, danced beside him, her movements so fluid that even the flames seemed shy to touch her. They called her the Woman of Dawn, because when she spun, the fire wrapped around her like sunrise come to life. The shows began at dusk. The lights dimmed, the crowd hushed, and Father would step into the ring carrying nothing but a match.
Ladies
and gentlemen,
tonight
he would say,
remind you
his voice warm as summer.
to feel
"Tonight, we will remind you what it means to feel alive." Then he would strike the match, and the night would bloom into gold. From behind the curtains I watched, clutching my tiny torch, my heart racing in rhythm with the drums. When the audience gasped, I gasped too. When they cheered, I almost forgot to breathe. Mother would glance back at me and wink, her amber eyes glowing through the smoke. Sometimes she let me help light the stage torches.
Got this, little flame.
She would kneel,
I'm
guiding my
ready, Mira.
hands. "Slowly," she whispered. "Don't command the flame. Listen
Just
to it.
breathe, sweetheart.
I did,
Feel the
and the
warmth
flame listened back.
and let it guide
It
you.
shivered, flickered, then steadied in my palm, hovering there like a living thing. The others said it was a trick of heat and wind, but Father's smile told me otherwise. By the end of the season,
Amazing!
they let me join the performance.
She did it!
My part was small,
The Ember
a child holding a candle while the phoenix rose behind me. Still, I felt like I carried the whole world in that flame. When the music swelled and the fire arced into wings, it caught the reflection in my eyes, rose and gold, and the crowd whispered, "The Ember Child." After the show, the camp glowed with leftover magic. Performers lounged by the bonfire,
Rest now, little
their
spark.
faces painted with
Rest now,
ash and
little
laughter.
spark.
I sat beside my parents, feeding the fire bits
That's
of
my
wood.
girl.
I
Each
love
spark
you,
that
sweetie.
flew upward looked like a dream escaping gravity. "Every flame is a soul," Father said,
Every
tossing
flame
another log in.
is a soul.
"When the fire burns clean, it means the soul is free." Mother laughed softly, wrapping a shawl around my shoulders. "Don't listen too much to his poetry." The night it happened, the sky was the color of rust. A storm crawled over the horizon, swallowing the last of the sunset. The circus lights flickered in defiance, small islands of gold in a sea of shadow. I remember the smell first, oil, heavy and wrong. Then came the wind, sharp and impatient, tugging at the tents as if it wanted to rip the world open. Inside the main pavilion, the show was reaching its crescendo. Father stood in the ring surrounded by a circle of torches, his voice booming through the rain.
I'm home.
Mother spun beside him, her scarf trailing embers that painted light across the darkening crowd. Their movements were a conversation, flame answering flame. I waited backstage, my candle ready, heart leaping with the rhythm of the drums. This was my cue, the moment I would step into the circle and light the final torch, marking the birth of the phoenix. But when Father struck the final spark, the wind changed. The torches flared too high, too fast. A gust tore through the tent, scattering embers into the audience. Screams replaced applause. "Cut the lights," someone shouted. The drums stopped.
Cut the lights!
Smoke thickened.
I have
Mother's
to get out of
eyes
here.
found me through the chaos. "Stay where you are," she cried. I didn't. I ran toward her. By then, the ceiling cloth had caught fire. It moved faster than sound, devouring color and
Go in
air.
there.
Performers dragged buckets of water, their faces ghostly in the orange glow. Father grabbed a rope and pulled it down, trying to open an escape flap. Then came the crash.
This is our only way out.
A support beam, burning from top to
Selene!
base, splintered and fell between us. The world split in half. Them on one side,
Run!
me on the other.
Get out of here!
"Aria!"
Now!
Father's voice was raw, swallowed by heat. "Get out! Go!" But I couldn't move. The flames were everywhere, surrounding me, whispering, hissing, not in anger, but in recognition.
I'm not afraid
They curled
of
toward
you.
me like hands, and then something inside me answered. The air trembled. I lifted my arms without thinking, and the fire obeyed. It recoiled, spiraling around me in a perfect ring. The heat faded. The noise dimmed. For one impossible second, I stood in the center of a storm made of light. I pushed forward through the gap it opened, choking on smoke, reaching for my mother's silhouette. She smiled once, that same
where you
tender,
are.
endless smile, before the roof gave way. The sound was like the world exhaling. When I woke, the rain had begun. The circus was gone. Tents, wagons, laughter, all of it reduced to a smoking field of ash. The dawn crept through the haze, turning the wreckage into a landscape of ghosts. I sat among the cinders, clutching what was left of my mother's scarf and my father's phoenix pendant. My hands were black with soot, but unburned. Between my palms, a tiny flame flickered. faint, fragile, and alive. The rescuers who found me later said it was a miracle, but I knew better. It wasn't a miracle. It was inheritance. That was the night I learned the truth about fire. It doesn't choose what it consumes, only what it remembers. After the fire, the world forgot the Phoenix caravan. The posters were torn down, the ashes swept away, the songs replaced by city noise. But I remembered every sound, every color, and every scream. For a long time, I wandered. The city on the edge of the ruins was nothing like the caravan. The air smelled of smoke, too, but not the kind that warmed you. Here, it was the stench of machines and burnt metal. People stared when they saw me. A barefoot girl with singed clothes and hair the color of dying embers. The fire child, they whispered, cursed.
Oh.
Sometimes, when I begged for food, my hands betrayed me. A spark would slip out, lighting trash or melting
Just a little
coins.
something again.
Children threw stones. Merchants spat.
Get out
So
of
I
here,
learned to
you
hide.
Freak!
I wrapped my hands in cloth and kept my eyes low. But even hiding couldn't stop it.
No.
The fire was alive inside me, restless, hungry to be seen. I found work sweeping streets near the market square. At night, I slept under the broken marquee of an abandoned theater. The old posters fluttered in the wind. Dancers, magicians, dreamers, all ghosts of what I used to be. Sometimes, to feel less alone, I'd perform for the shadows. A trick of light, a tiny flame swirling between my palms. The fire always recognized me. It moved gently, like an old friend who couldn't speak. Once, a little boy stopped to watch. His eyes widened. "Is that magic?" he asked. I smiled faintly. "It's memory," I said. "It remembers warmth." He dropped a coin and ran before anyone could see him talking to me. When the nights grew colder, I tried to smother the flame to save myself from the temptation of using it. But it kept returning. In my dreams, in my heartbeat, in the glow that leaked from my pendant when I cried. There were moments I almost wished it would die with me. Yet each time despair rose, the fire burned brighter, soft but stubborn. It refused to let me sink into darkness. I began to understand. I hadn't survived the Inferno by chance. The fire had chosen me. And though I hated it, though it had taken everything I loved, it was the only thing left that proved I was still alive. Winter came, and with it, the kind of cold that makes even dreams shiver. The city turned gray, wrapped in fog and hunger. I moved from alley to alley, finding warmth in doorways and the exhaust of street vents. My body survived on scraps, but my soul felt hollow. A burnt wick still smoking long after the flame had gone. The pendant around my neck, the small crystal my father once wore, had lost its glow. I used to whisper to it at night, hoping it might answer, but silence was my only reply. From that night on,
It's memory.
the city began to whisper my name. They called me the girl who danced with fire. Some said I was a miracle. Others called me a curse. But I didn't care what they believed. I knew the truth. The fire wasn't something I controlled. It was something I became. I wandered from district to district, performing for those who had forgotten what light looked like. On the coldest nights, when the streets filled with hunger and silence,
Remember this, little one.
I would gather children and the
world
homeless under
only
broken
ends when we
archways
stop shining.
and set the air aglow with warmth. My stage was the dirt, my spotlight the moon. The first time I danced again, it wasn't for applause. It was for remembrance. I drew circles of light around me, Small at first, then wider, until the flames wrapped the entire square in gold. The people stopped, eyes wide, the cold melting from their faces.
Beautiful.
A woman whispered, "It's beautiful." A man added,
It feels alive.
"It feels alive." And it was. Each flame carried a memory. My father's laughter, my mother's grace, the songs of the caravan. The fire no longer devoured. It told stories. It reached for the lost and gave them warmth. I began dancing every week, never in the same place twice. The city started to look forward to it. A fleeting miracle that made them believe again, even just for a moment. One night, after a long performance near the old clock tower, I saw a little girl watching me from the crowd. Her hair shimmered faintly lavender under the neon light.
You have a light inside
Her eyes
of you,
bright with wonder.
a unique spark
She
that
couldn't have been
deserves
more
to
than
shine
6.
brightly.
When our gazes met, she didn't flinch
Your
like others
destiny
did.
awaits.
She smiled,
Uh,
a smile so pure it pierced straight through the ashes of my heart.
Remember
I knelt down,
this, little one.
holding the last ember in my hand,
The world
and
only
whispered to her,
ends when we stop
"Remember
shining.
this, little one.
Always
The
let your
world
inner
only
fire
ends
shine
when we
brightly.
stop shining." She nodded solemnly, as if she understood far more than her age allowed. Then she ran off into the night, her laughter echoing like chimes in the wind. I watched her disappear into the dark and thought of the phoenix. How it lives 1,000 lives, always reborn from its own flame. Maybe that was my purpose. Not to be remembered, but to ignite others. So I kept dancing, not for the crowds, but for the ones who still believed in warmth. The city would forget my name. The posters would fade again. But somewhere out there, the little girl with lavender hair would remember the night the fire danced.
Oh, wow.
Not to burn, but to heal. And that was enough.
Look at that.
When the performance ended, I stayed behind, sweeping up ashes and paper charms that had drifted from the
Marker.
audience.
Potential subject for the Dreamer
The city was
program.
quiet again. That's when I
The
felt
energy
it.
readings are
A
stabilizing.
pulse in the air, faint but deliberate, like the beat of a second heart. The men in dark coats stood motionless in the rain-slicked alley. My heart hammered. Instinct took over, and I summoned a
Stay back.
hissing flame to my palm,
Aria,
a raw warning
to
born
calm
from
down.
years of survival. They didn't flinch. Instead, a new voice, crisp and clear as chilled glass, cut through the downpour. "There is no need for that, Aria." A woman with silver hair emerged from the shadows of a sleek van. Her gaze, the color of a winter sky,
My offer is
was
simple.
direct and
Join us,
unafraid.
and together
"My
we can
name
reshape
is
the future
Director
of
Valen,"
this city.
she said, her voice commanding a
Because
strange
you don't
calm.
belong to the streets.
"We know who you
You
are.
belong to something greater.
We know they called you the Ember
We've
Child."
seen your power.
Every word
It's
struck a
evolving.
forgotten chord within me. She knew.
Welcome.
"What do you want?"
to the Dreamer
I
Initiative.
asked, my voice barely a whisper. "To offer you a home," she stated simply. "A place where your gift is not seen as a curse. We can teach you to control the fire that burns inside you, to give it purpose. The world is changing, Aria.
We are the
People
Dreamer
like you
Initiative.
are needed."
And you, Aria Flame,
Her words
are what we
targeted the
call
deepest
a
ache in my
resonance.
soul,
Wow.
the desperate longing not to be alone. The streets had taught me that nothing was free, but the hope she offered was a
uncontrolled
powerful
energy
lure.
of this scale can destroy
She extended a
city
gloved
block.
hand,
Or
an open
save one.
invitation.
The choice
The
is
choice is yours.
Come with us.
Remain a ghost in the shadows, or come with us and discover what you were truly born to be. I stared at the defiant flame in my hand, my only companion through years of misery. Then I looked at her, seeing not a threat, but an impossible doorway out of the darkness. The pendant on my chest pulsed with a steady, warm light. It felt like an answer. Slowly, I closed my fist, extinguishing the flame. I gave a single, decisive nod. A faint smile touched Valen's
Lira
lips.
Nova.
The journey that followed was a silent, surreal
Another
blur.
one like me?
Inside the high-tech van, which plunged into tunnels deep beneath the city.
I get innocent.
When the doors hissed open again, it was not to another rain-soaked street. I stepped out into a vast, subterranean chamber. Soft, white light emanated from the walls, illuminating cascading waterfalls and gardens of glowing flora. The air was clean and filled with a quiet energy. It was a hidden sanctuary of science and nature, a place of impossible peace. Director Valen stood beside me, observing my awe.
Remember,
The fire took your
in this
first
vast,
home, Aria,
unpredictable network,
she said softly.
your connection
Let us
is your
help you build a
strength.
new one. Welcome to the atrium.
Neon veins are burning, running through my soul. Fragments of the future that I can't control. We were shadows fading under glass, but even broken light still shines from the past. I fell through the static, lost my reflection, tried to erase every wrong direction, but every scar is a map to my fire. Every echo's calling me higher. We rise from the glitch in the wire. Dreamers on fire, hearts reborn from shattered time. We glow in the storm and the silence. Voices align. This is what it sounds like when we come alive. Truth in distortion, I hear your name in the pulse of the city. It beats the same. The codes are breaking, but so are the chains. We're not afraid to bleed in neon rain. We were the lost ones, now we're the spark, turning the night into a mark. Through chaos we redefine every dream that's intertwined. We rise from the glitch and the wire. Dreamers on fire, hearts reborn from shattered time. We glow in the storm and the silence. Voices align. This is what it sounds like when we come alive. You think the darkness owns us? No, it forged us. The code was never the enemy. It was the mirror. And now we break it. We're dreamers unbound. Can't silence the sound. The system's falling down. We are the light reborn underground. We rise through the glitch and the wire. Dreamers on fire. No more ghosts between the lines. We glow, fearless and undefined. Voices align. This is what the future sounds like inside. Truth in the noise, love in the light. We are the dreamers, and this is what it sounds like.